So it's finally starting to happen. More girls are starting to realize that boys playing in their sports makes absolutely no sense, and they're beginning to actually protest against it. Of course, in this situation, the girls actually were protesting during their track and field event, saying, hey, this isn't fair. He's a boy. Of course he's going to beat all of us. You know what? It's not even a fair competition. I'm not even going to compete. And what does the school do? Of course, they punish these girls because how dare they go against the current narrative? How dare they go against what the school believes in? Because, the schools, they of course never allow protest, right? They don't like when their students protest against them. That's not something the schools would ever allow. Unless, of course, it's for the next Benedict case, which of course turned out to be pretty much a hoax, right? Turned out that they weren't being bullied. No, it turns out in the situation they were the bully, as well as the fact that they weren't beaten in the bathroom, having to be sent to a hospital or some crap that they made up like that. That never happened. And yeah, of course, there was plenty of protest over that where students walked out during school hours, I might add, and none of them, of course, were punished. Or, of course, in Florida, where you had hundreds of students walking out in support of boys beating the crap out of women in sports. Now, they can show support of that all day long, again, during school hours, impacting the educational opportunities of everyone at the school. No problem whatsoever, that's completely allowed. Or how about, of course, the dozens upon dozens upon dozens of walkouts that took place during the Black Lives Matter riots. Again, something that's a basic hoax when you actually look at crime statistics, as well as when you actually look at how many people are actually killed by police officers. And that's the funny thing. The liberals will always allow protests and riots when it comes to fake narratives. Again, Black Lives Matter is a completely fake narrative. You can look at the crime stats, you can look at how many unarmed black men are killed by police a year and look at the population. It is far from an epidemic. It's barely even noticeable. Yeah, of course, they have no problem supporting it. When it comes to, the support of trans athletes, it's a hoax. It's not true. No, there's no truth behind it. These are still just delusional boys. There is no truth in the trans debate, for these people at least. Or, of course, when it comes to the next Benedict case, where it really was pretty much a complete hoax, they have no problem with their students protesting on behalf of that. But the minute the students start protesting on something that's actually real, something that's tangible, something that's actually affecting them, no, then they have to be punished. When they're actually protesting something that actually exists, that is when it can no longer be allowed. Because that means it's something that can actually be fixed. You can't fix the things that they complain about when it comes to Black Lives Matter, because at the end of the day, it's not real. You can't fix the stuff that's happening when it comes to allowing, trans individuals to do more, because at the end of the day, it's based on a delusion. There's no truth behind it. You can't fix the case of Next Benedict because it was a hoax to begin with. I mean, the person really did off themselves. Sad case, truly sad. Had nothing to do with what they claimed it had to do with, though. None of that was ever true. So, of course, they can protest against the mistreatment of a student when the mistreatment never existed. But again, when it's saying it's actually real, that means there's something they can do about it, which means they can no longer allow the protest against it. Because the minute they start protesting against something that they actually have the capability of fixing, it puts the ball in their court, right? It puts the ball in their court the minute they start protesting something that they have a direct impact on. They have no direct impact on how the world views trans individuals. They have no direct impact on the complaints and just overall BS that Black Lives Matter supports, right? They have no ability to change any of that. So they can always just sit back and just say, oh yeah, well, we're in support, while doing absolutely nothing because there's nothing to be done. While here, this would require actual work. And so obviously they're no longer going to allow it. But let's get into it a bit more here. This is in West Virginia. West Virginia School Board punished a group of middle school girls who protested a biological male competing against them at a track meet earlier this month, according to a legal complaint. A cell phone video shows the girls from Lincoln Middle School staging a protest in a shot put ring during Harrison County Middle School Championships on April 18th. One by one, they stepped in the ring and then quickly just stepped out without making any attempts. And they have the video right here. And of course, Riley Gaines up here saying 5 middle school female athletes in West Virginia refused to throw shot put against a male. Becky Pepper Jackson, I mean, that's a trans name if I ever heard one, This comes just 2 days after the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals blocked the West Virginia law that says you must compete in a category that matches your sex. You can see again, you walk in. And again, there's no hate here. There's no vitriol here. They're not saying derogatory comments to the person. They're simply saying, we are not going to compete in an unfair competition. I mean, think about it. If you stepped in the ring with someone, it's clear they've been, juicing on steroids since they were like 12, you would simply say, I'm not fighting that. That's not a fair fight. It's the same deal here. This is someone who's had testosterone with them. Again, there's prenatal testosterone, all right? We know this based on the science, that boys from a very early age start advancing far past girls when it comes to physical prowess, right? It's not just strength either. It has to do with just how our muscle fibers react to things. Even hand-eye coordination is higher in boys than it is girls. Obviously, at younger ages, there's less of a difference, and I assume probably in middle school, that's where you're starting to hit puberty. That's where the differences are really starting to affect. But there's still other things that you just cannot change. Bone density is obviously a big one. And guess what? That plays a part, not just when it comes to combat sports with hitting one another, that also plays a part in just overall strength you can develop. All right? There's a reason why if you go to any random gym, you can see guys, of course, repping out 135 like it's absolutely nothing. Let's face it, 135 is pretty much just warm up for most guys, right? I mean, I'm not a crazy bencher myself, I'm in like the low 200s over here. I've touched 225 like a couple times, and that's like it, right? I'm not a big bencher, but guess what? You look at women who have been training for years, and many of them are still struggling to bench 135. There's a reason for that. There's a reason when you look at the time differences when it comes to marathons between the fastest man and the fastest women, it's such a big difference. In all things physical, men are going to always outdo women. It's just a reality of just nature. And these women, these young girls who are more adult than the actual people running this country at this moment, they know this. And so they're saying this isn't fair. We're just going to not compete. Again, they didn't say anything derogatory towards this person whatsoever. They simply walked in, walked out, said, I don't think this is fair, and walked away. That's it. No chanting, no heavy vitriol. I mean, you saw what happened during the Black Lives Matter riots. I mean, come on. Buildings being burnt down, people being attacked in the streets, stores looted, and of course they supported the students who were supporting Black Lives Matter, no problem. But these girls who actually do a actual peaceful protest, can't have any of that. Can't have any of that whatsoever. While the video and the post from a female athlete advocate Riley Gaines appears to show 6 separate protests by the Lincoln girls in the shot put ring, Athletic Net indicates that 5 Lincoln girls posted ND, no distance, in the finals. Gaines also wrote that the 5 girls refused to participate. So as we go down here a bit further, this is a big part right here. Pepper Jackson is a biological male who has been living as a female and taking puberty blockers for years. Athletic Net says Pepper Jackson of Bridgeport won the shot put final at the meet with a toss of 32 feet 9 inches, easily being the second place finisher by more than 3 feet. Okay, and shot put 3 feet is a massive difference, okay? It is a huge difference. And obviously it's no surprising, right? I mean, I know some people have talked about the fact of once more trans individuals start getting involved in the professional levels of female sports, it's going to be really funny to see if they actually allow betting on these competitions, because obviously everyone would just bet on the team that has the actual dude on it. Let's be real. But here's the big problem with this. These are girls who are, of course, they're being active, they're being healthy, they're getting out there and competing. All this stuff is good. I have a daughter. I have a daughter and I want her to compete. I'll probably try to push her into boxing the same way I plan on pushing my son into boxing. Now, whether they do it competitively, I really don't care. I mostly just want them to do something that's, get hit in the face a couple times, you learn not to get into fights, right? I mean, you get punched in the face once and you realize, oh, geez, I do not want that to happen again. And plus, it's good just for self-defense reasons. So, listen, I'll be pushing my daughter into sports the same way I'll be pushing my son into sports. I think it's great when girls want to get involved in sports because it's a healthy thing to do. The problem is, let's face it, Female sports is always an uphill battle because no one really wants to watch it in the first place, which means if it's being done as a charity to women, not as an actual thing that can sustain itself. You know, the WNBA is sustained strictly because of the charity of the NBA. That's it. And the same goes for all women's sports for the most part. The only exception might be MMA, possibly. Even then, let's face it, the majority of people are watching the men's fights. But the female fights there do sell decently well, so I'll give them that. I will say in the boxing world, that's not really the case. No one really cares about female boxing. But it's already an uphill battle for women to get recognized in sports because, let's face it, you can go see a WNBA game, or you can go see your local high school boys team play even better than them. And what was it? The female soccer team, they got, basically, they got the crap kicked out of them by a bunch of high school boys like in Australia or something like that. I might be misremembering this slightly, but I remember that the Olympic, or not, I guess not the Olympic soccer team, what would you call it, just World Cup team for females, they got beat by a bunch of high schoolers. All right, that's just the difference we're talking about. So it's already hard enough for women to be recognized in their sport. And what little they do have is now being taken from them by delusional guys who, for some reason, think that they're a woman. It's just a sad reality that we're living in now. And again, these women, I say women, these are middle school girls, actually. These are middle school girls who are acting more adult than the people of this school. These girls actually did what, frankly, we've said a lot of people should be doing, which is just saying no. I'm not going to compete in an unfair competition. It makes no sense for me to do. If you went to a boxing ring and a person had, lead in their gloves, you're not going to sit there and say, oh, no, this is completely fair and I should totally just get better. Like, no, you can't get better from that, right? If someone puts plaster in their glove, you're not going to really be able to outbox that, but so much, all right? There's actual examples of this you can look up. It's not pretty. And that's pretty much what's happening here. There's no amount of just get better. It's unfair from the get-go. They're doing exactly what they should be doing. They're walking away instead of actually entertaining this nonsense, entertaining this person's delusions, and they're being punished for it. While other students, of course, throughout the country can sit there and protest any leftist calls they want and not only get away with it, but probably get, almost a free ride to wherever Ivy League school they want to, so that way they can shut down that college with more protests, as we now see. And it's sad. It really is sad. And again, what else are they to do? What else are they to do? I think walking out is probably the best thing. Actually, I think the best thing for them to do is when they're competing against a boy, compete like crazy. Go all after it. And when you come in second place, step on the first place podium. I mean, I'm serious. Just step on there and go, no, I'm first. Make a scene. Yeah, you're going to get punished. I know. These people got punished for simply not entertaining someone's fantasy, right? Again, this is someone who wants the entire world around them to play make-believe with them and act like they're a girl. These girls said, we don't want to play make-believe with you. You're a boy, get out of here. And they're being punished for that, for simply not wanting to play make-believe with a boy. I mean, that's insane to me. But you know what? If you come in second place, step up there and act like you came in first, because the reality is you did. You did come in first. No girl beat you. You are the best female at this particular sport. You're the best girl at this particular sport. Act like it. When they give you the silver medal, make a show going, hey guys, they gave me the wrong color. It's supposed to be gold, right? It's supposed to be gold. What's going on here? Make a scene. And again, it's going to suck. It's going to be terrible for girls for a good while here. The only thing I hope, my daughter is very, very young. She's only about like 2 years old at this point. Not even yet. I really do pray that by the time that she gets at the age where she's actually competing in sports, all this nonsense is done away with, because I do not know how those fathers can sit there and remain silent over it. And I don't know just how frustrating it must be for those girls to have their opportunity to actually excel in a sport just stripped away from them like that. Utterly insane. But what do you think? Of course, leave in the comments below, as well as, of course, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and on Thursday nights at 9:30 p.m. we do a 2-hour long live stream here Usually just me and my dad just going through the news, kind of talking about whatever issues might be happening throughout the week. So tune in 9:30 p.m. Thursday nights to be able to be part of that conversation. Either way, thanks so much for watching and hope to be seeing you again real soon.